I had known for weeks. Ethan thought he was being careful, but he had no idea I was already onto him. The truth had come from an unexpected source, one of his colleagues. Someone disgusted by what was happening. Someone who thought I deserved to know. Armed with that knowledge, I took my time. I calmed my emotions, buried my anger deep, and turned it into something far more effective, a plan. And tonight? It was finally time. Are we doing this tonight? Lisa asked over the phone. Her voice was eager, almost excited. I nodded, even though she could not see me. Yes, it is happening. I took a slow breath, steadying myself. After dinner, I will hand him a beer, sit him down, and tell him. Just be ready. Lisa let out a short laugh. God, I wish I could be there to see his face. Stay strong, she added, her tone turning serious. He will not take this well, but you have to stand your ground. I will, I assured her. We have gone over this. He does not really have a choice. If he truly loves me, he will accept this. Lisa hummed in agreement. He might resist, argue, maybe even yell. But if you stay calm, if you make it clear that you are in control, he will have no choice but to fall in line. That is the plan. And as far as he is concerned, Lisa added, it is only temporary. Once he accepts it, he might even learn to appreciate it. I smiled. Exactly. Lisa hesitated for a moment. Then her voice dropped slightly. You're sure he's going to go along with this? I exhaled, running my fingers through my hair. Trust me, Lisa. Ethan loves me more than anything. Yes, he will be upset at first, but deep down, he wants me to be happy. And if this is what I need, then he will do whatever it takes. Lisa sighed, her voice carrying the weight of experience. I learned this the hard way, Rachel. 2 failed marriages before I finally figured it out. But my third husband? Proof that it works. She paused. You have met him. He worships me now. He stays quiet when I am with someone else. Handles everything afterward. I blinked. Wow, I murmured. Believe me, she continued, give him a month. Ethan will adjust just like my husband did. And once he does, your marriage will be stronger than ever. I smiled. Everything was falling into place. That evening, I made Ethan's favorite dinner. When he walked through the door, he greeted me with his usual warmth, a soft kiss on the cheek, a whispered, I love you. I smiled. Even though I had rehearsed this moment over and over, I still felt a flicker of nerves. This was going to define our marriage. But I reminded myself, this was for the best. Lisa had transformed her marriage with this philosophy. And her husband? He seemed happy. I truly believed Ethan would come to appreciate it, too. Dinner was like any other night. Easy conversation, shared laughter, the comfort of routine. We talked about our days, the news, the little things that made life feel normal. Afterward, I insisted that Ethan relax with a beer while I cleaned up. He offered to help, but I waved him off. It is no trouble, I said lightly. Everything had to be perfect. With the dishes done and the kitchen spotless, I poured myself a glass of wine. Took a deep breath. It was time. I found Ethan in the living room, flipping through the newspaper. He glanced up and smiled. Everything okay, sweetheart? I met his gaze. Ethan, we need to talk. He set the paper aside, his expression curious. Of course. What is on your mind? I steadied myself. This might be hard for you to accept at first, I admitted, but it is something I really need, and I promise it is only temporary. His brows furrowed slightly, but he nodded. All right, if it is important to you, I will listen. So far, so good. I felt my confidence grow. Ethan, we have talked about having children. I began carefully, and I am almost ready. His expression softened. But before we take that step, I continued. There is something I need to do for myself first. He nodded slowly. That is fine. What do you need? I took another sip of wine. Now or never. I need to explore certain things before I fully settle into motherhood. His posture stiffened slightly. What do you mean by explore? I exhaled. I will be seeing other men, I admitted, just for a little while. It is not about love. It is just something physical. Ethan froze. I love you, and that will never change, I reassured him. But this is something I need, in order to be sure I am ready for the next phase of our lives. His jaw tightened, but he did not yell. He did not slam his beer down. Instead, his voice was quiet, measured. Rachel, It sounds like you have already made up your mind. So there is no point in me arguing. I felt a small wave of relief. He was accepting it. But I will just say this, he added, looking me directly in the eyes. I did not agree with it. A pause. But I will not stop you. That night, I noticed Ethan packing up his things. Not just moving to the spare bedroom. Packing. Boxes. Sealing them. Not in anger. Not in a rush. Calmly. Methodically. At one point, I caught him looking at me. His voice was even emotionless. You look beautiful tonight. I smiled. Thank you, Ethan. And with that, I walked out the door. Lisa was already there. She introduced me to Sean and Eric, two guys from her office. Charming, confident, well-equipped in every way. The night unfolded effortlessly. We danced. We laughed. We drank. During the slower songs, Sean and Eric took turns holding me close. Their hands lingered. It felt good. At one point, Lisa and I slipped into the restroom. We needed to finalize the plan. A quick game of rock, paper, scissors. Sean was mine. Eric was hers. Tonight was just the beginning. And Ethan? By the time I got home, he would be gone. I walked into the house feeling victorious. The night had been everything I wanted. Sean had been incredible, and I had indulged myself completely. Tonight had marked the start of a new chapter in my life, one where I made the rules. But as I led Sean toward my bedroom, something felt different. The house was too quiet. I glanced toward the spare room, expecting to see Ethan's things stacked neatly in the corner. Instead, nothing. The room was empty. His clothes, his tools, his bags, all gone. For a split second, I hesitated. A part of me had expected him to fight this, to resist, to yell, maybe even beg. Instead, he had simply left. I should have felt relief, maybe even satisfaction. Instead, I felt nothing. I did not like that feeling, not one bit. So I pushed the thought aside. I had more pressing matters at hand. Sean and I wasted no time. He requested that I keep on the garter belt and stockings. I was happy to oblige. At some point earlier in the night, I had lost my thong, either to Sean or Eric. It did not matter. I could always buy another one. For the next 2 hours, we lost ourselves completely, exploring, pushing limits, surrendering to the moment. Every movement felt natural, seamless. By the time we finally collapsed in a bed, exhausted and breathless, I knew one thing for sure. I had never felt this free. The next morning, Sean lingered. We spent another heated round in the shower before he finally admitted, I should probably get home. I smirked. To your wife and kids? He grinned, unashamed. Yeah, something like that. I threw on a robe and made my way to the kitchen, expecting the usual pot of coffee Ethan always brewed in the morning. But when I stepped inside, the coffee pot was empty. No coffee, no breakfast. I frowned. Ethan was always up by now. For the first time in a long time, I actually noticed his absence. I had briefly considered showing some small gesture of appreciation for his cooperation. Maybe a simple thank you. But that thought vanished just as quickly as it arrived. After all, he did not even make me coffee. Whatever moment of gratitude I had felt was officially gone. I grabbed a bagel instead. Then I took a long, hot shower to ease the soreness from the night before. Loose shorts, an old t-shirt, hair tied back, comfort over presentation. I had no plans for the day. But then, my phone rang. Hey, girlfriend. Lisa's voice chirped cheerfully. I smirked, still feeling the glow of last night. Morning, I replied. Lisa wasted no time. So, how is Sean? She asked, voice dripping with curiosity. I grinned. Exactly what I expected. Amazing. Lisa laughed. I knew it. The man's reputation is well earned. Then her tone shifted. What about Ethan? Has he been sulking all morning? I rolled my eyes. I have not seen him yet, I admitted. And you know what? I am annoyed. He did not even make coffee or breakfast. Lisa chuckled. Good. Make sure he knows you are disappointed. Stay firm with him, but reward him when he does things right. That way, he stays motivated to do what you want. I nodded, even though she could not see me. Good point, I agreed. But something still felt off. I glanced down the hall toward the spare bedroom. A nagging feeling itched at the back of my mind. Hold on, I told Lisa. I'm going to wake him up. I walked toward the door, knocking firmly. Ethan, no response. I knocked louder. Ethan, wake up. Silence. A flicker of irritation turned into something else. Something colder. I twisted the doorknob, pushed the door open, and then my stomach dropped. The room was empty. The closet? Cleared out. His desk? Wiped clean. His clothes. His tools. His bags. Everything was gone. The bed was made perfectly, like he had never even been there. Like he had never lived here at all. I felt my breath hitch. Oh no, I gasped. Lisa's voice crackled through the phone. What is wrong? I swallowed hard. He is gone. Lisa paused. What do you mean? He really left. My voice barely rose above a whisper. Lisa sighed on the other end. Rachel, calm down. I pressed a hand to my chest, trying to steady myself. Lisa's tone was firm. Do not call him. Do not text him. Let him reach out to you first. I frowned. Why? Because, Lisa explained, this is a tantrum. He is being dramatic. Give a couple of days, and he will come crawling back. I sat down on the edge of the empty bed. Are you sure? I asked, doubt creeping into my voice. Lisa's tone never wavered. Of course I'm sure, she said. This actually works in your favor. Ow! Because now you get to punish him. I swallowed. Lisa continued. When he does come back, he will beg. And when that happens, you set the rules. I nodded slowly. Lisa had been right so far. Maybe she was right about this, too. Lisa cleared her throat. Speaking of rules, she said, shifting topics, Sean wants to meet you in the supply closet for an hour on Monday. I laughed. Think we can pull that off? Lisa smirked. Absolutely. Half the women here are already doing it. I literally have to schedule it now. I grinned. Lisa was always ahead of the game. We chatted a bit longer, but even after we hung up, something about Ethan's departure stuck with me. Despite everything, I had loved him. I had imagined growing old with him. Maybe, someday, I could bring him back on my terms. If he agreed to the conditions. If he accepted my lifestyle. Maybe. But for now, I had more important things to focus on. I poured myself a glass of wine, settled onto the couch, and let the night fade into silence. Ethan was gone, but this was just the beginning. Ethan was still silent. Lisa assured me it was a good thing. He is just making you sweat, she said over the phone. Men do this all the time when they think they have the upper hand. The longer he stays away, the more leverage you have when he comes crawling back. I want to believe her, but something felt off. Ethan had always been steady, predictable, a man of routine and patience. His sudden disappearance, paired with his refusal to respond, was too deliberate. And as the days passed, that uneasy feeling only grew. But I pushed it aside. I had more important things to focus on. The work week flew by in a blur. The supply closet became our playground, and Sean, Eric, and even a few new faces kept things interesting. I had never felt so free. Lisa had been right. Life was better when you made your own rules. Then, Friday morning, something shifted. We were gathered around the coffee machine. Lisa, Sean, Eric, and I, laughing, sharing our usual inside jokes. Then she walked in. A well-dressed woman. Confident. Cold. Calculated. Her sharp gaze swept over us. Are you Rachel Adams, Lisa Morgan, Sean Bennett, and Eric Turner? We exchanged glances. Yes. I answered hesitantly. She handed each of us an envelope. Then, without missing a beat, she snapped a photo of us with a small digital camera. You have been served. The words hit like a gunshot. She turned on her heel, heading straight for the boss's office. Wait, I called out, my voice tight with panic. What is this about? She paused, and with a syrupy southern accent, she smirked. Oh, honey, it is just a little joke. Do not worry about it. Then, she disappeared into the boss's office. She stayed for less than a minute. And then, just as casually as she had arrived, she left the building. My fingers trembled as I tore open the envelope. Divorce papers. The reason? Spousal infidelity. My breath caught in my throat. Lisa's hands clenched around her own envelope. Sean and Eric? Their phones buzzed almost immediately. Their wives. I watched as both men paled. Furious voices. Threats. Custody battles. Assets. Lawyers. Lisa turned to me, her face tight. Ethan did this. He had planned this. He had been ahead of us the entire time. Before we had time to recover, the boss's angry roar echoed from his office. Adams, Morgan, Bennett, Turner, in my office. Now, the room went silent. All eyes turned to us. With heads down, we shuffled into his office. The door slammed shut behind us. The boss stood behind his desk, glaring. He held a manila envelope, gripping it like it physically disgusted him. "What the hell were you thinking?" he barked. No one answered. "This is beyond bad," he continued, voice thick with disgust. "Do you even understand the situation you have put this company in?" I felt sick. "The company is facing a lawsuit," he roared. The air left my lungs. Lisa's face went ashen. "Do you have any idea how serious this is?" None of us dared to speak. He slammed the envelope onto his desk. "Some of you thought the supply closet was your personal playground. And Lisa," his eyes burned with fury, "you turned it into a damn brothel." Lisa flinched. I was numb. "Let me be perfectly clear," he said, his tone ice cold. "There's a court order preventing me from firing you, for now." The words hit hard. A court order? That meant Ethan had done more than just file for divorce. He had made sure I could not escape the consequences. He was making me suffer, and he was enjoying it. The company email hit minutes later. Loudspeaker, "New workplace policies effective immediately. Small Blue Diamond mandatory moral conduct training for all employees. Small Blue Diamond security monitoring in secluded areas. Small Blue Diamond strict inter-employee interaction rules. Small Blue Diamond, the supply closet, officially off limits." My inbox exploded. Angry emails. Resentment. Blame. Hatred. Everyone knew who was responsible. Me. Lisa. Sean. Eric. The whispers followed us everywhere. Lunchroom. Meetings. Even the damn parking lot. The walls were closing in. For the first time, a thought flickered in my mind. Had I made a mistake? That night, we met at a bar across town. Lisa. Sean. Eric. The tension hung between us. Drinks were poured, but no one toasted. Finally, I broke the silence. "Why did Ethan include the court order?" I asked. "What is his endgame?" Sean sighed. "It is money," he said bitterly. "He is not just trying to ruin your life. He is trying to make sure you do not get a damn dime in the divorce." Eric nodded. "If you lose your job, the judge might grant you alimony. But if you keep working," he smirked, "then he owes you nothing." Lisa's jaw clenched. "So what are we supposed to do? Just sit here and take it?" Sean took a slow sip of his drink. "We survive." Eric agreed. "We keep our jobs. We lay low. We wait it out. If we all get fired before the divorce is finalized, we get nothing." Lisa scoffed. "So we just let Ethan win?" Sean laughed darkly. "He already won." As I stared into my drink, a chilling thought crept into my mind. Ethan had not just left. He had planned this. He had been 5 steps ahead of me the entire time. And now, I was the one left picking up the pieces. Not him. Not Sean. Not Lisa. Not Eric. Just me. Sean leaned closer. "Rachel, what about you and me?" he asked quietly. I frowned. "What do you mean?" Sean's voice was serious. "We have kids involved. If we lose our jobs, we lose everything. Alimony. Custody. Our future." The words sank deep. I took a slow breath. For the first time in weeks, I had a thought I never expected. Maybe I should reach out to Ethan. Maybe I should fix this. Because the alternative was losing everything. A moment of clarity hit me like a truck. Had I really been willing to throw away my marriage for something so temporary? If there was any chance of salvaging what I had with Ethan, I needed to make him my priority. Not Lisa, not Sean, not this reckless idea of freedom. I grabbed my phone and dialed his number. Blocked. Panic set in. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. Frustrated, I turned to Lisa. He blocked me. She handed me her phone. Same result. Blocked everywhere. Lisa's expression darkened. Try Eric's phone. I hesitated. What would Ethan think, seeing Eric's name pop up on his screen? I shook my head. That will just make things worse. It was becoming painfully clear Ethan had completely cut me out. Home, work, mutual friends. Every possible connection was severed. A sickening feeling crept into my gut. This was not a tantrum. This was a man who had already moved on. Determined to find him, I spent the weekend driving aimlessly, checking motels, bars, anywhere he might have gone. Nothing. I circled his friends' neighborhoods, hoping to spot his truck. No sign of him. At one point, I even tried following his best friend. That failed too. By Monday morning, I was desperate. I parked across the street from Ethan's workplace, watching employees file in. He never showed. An hour passed. Still nothing. I could not take it anymore. I marched into the reception area. The woman at the desk barely glanced up. "Can I help you?" I forced a polite smile. "I am looking for Ethan Carter." She blinked. "Oh, he is on leave for 2 weeks." My heart plummeted. 2 weeks? I stood there, stunned, as the reality sank in. He had completely removed himself from my reach. I had lost him. I was late for work, but I did not care. I had one last lifeline. Email. Ethan always checked his email. I sat at my desk, hands trembling as I typed. "Ethan, I know I have messed up, and there is no excuse for my actions. I have been selfish, reckless, and blind to the pain I caused. This is not Lisa's fault. This is not anyone's fault but mine. I realize now how much I have hurt you, and I hate myself for it. You were nothing but good to me, and I betrayed you. Despite everything, I still love you. I do not deserve your forgiveness, but I am begging for it. I will do anything to fix this. If you need proof, name it. I will do it. I know I have lost your trust. I know words mean nothing. But please, Ethan, do not give up on us. I need you. I need us. Rachel." I hit send, my heart pounding. Would he read it? Would he even care? An hour passed. Then, a notification. Email read. My breath caught, but no reply. To my surprise, Ethan never blocked my email. Even more shocking, he kept reading. But he made one thing clear. Words meant nothing. I had already broken the biggest promise I had ever made, our wedding vows. If I could betray that, why would he believe anything else I had to say? The only way to prove myself? Action. Step by step. 2 years later. A lot has changed. Sean and Eric faced long, brutal divorces. We were all fired the day after the lawsuit against our company settled. Sean and Eric lost everything. Their ex-wives took full custody of their kids. Both men moved into a cheap apartment in a bad part of town. Their kids refused to speak to them. Their wives remarried. Both women were happier than ever. And Lisa? She disappeared. She left town. The last I heard, she was jumping from relationship to relationship, trying to find another man to manipulate. As for me, I faced my own reckoning. Rebuilding our relationship was not easy. The first 6 months were pure hell. Painful conversations. Constant doubt. No trust. Ethan was distant. At times, I wondered if he would ever truly forgive me. But slowly, he let me back in. Even now, he tests me in ways I never imagined. Not to be cruel, but to see if I truly meant what I said. If I was really willing to honor my commitment to him. Not because I had to, but because I chose to. I had gotten so caught up in Lisa's warped version of marriage that I lost sight of what I already had. A husband who loved me. A man who had given me everything. And all he ever wanted in return. For me to love him back. And now, I do. Not because I have to. Because I want to.